We got some free tires for old Krusty here, and we threw them on hoping that they would clear. I believe they're 33s, and you can see the situation we got going on here. I decided to go with a 4-inch lift kit to accommodate these big old tires and old Krusty. It turns without the bumper, but it gets pretty close in the back there. And we're going with a Rough Country suspension lift kit. It's supposed to actually level the truck and then lift it 4 inches. So just for the record, we got about 36 to the center of the wheel well and the fender in the front. And we got about 38 in the back. The kit came with longer shocks and new springs, and I'm gonna get rid of these airbags. Actually, I would not recommend anybody ever buy them things. The lines just end up leaking on them. And we're gonna start by getting the sway bar out of here. We're just gonna take it completely off the truck right now at these points. We take this whole pan off, and I'll probably have to get some new links. I did get some sort of drop bracket kit, but we don't have it figured out yet. And this stuff is really rusted on this truck, so this is gonna be a fun job. Getting that piece off really opened her up. We put the stanchion under it. We don't want this thing swinging down at any point. We're going to take the shocks off now, and then after that we're going to lower it down, take this clip off the coil. I never liked those adjustable camber bushings, so I'm going to take this opportunity to take that out and put this original one back in. And this truck's going to need an alignment anyway after we're done here. Kind of nice that they got the bottom of these coils bolted in. We wrestled the airbag out of there. We have an 1.8" socket on this nut, and this is the part that scares me because who knows what's going to happen if the whole stuff starts turning and I have to disassemble this whole assembly. I don't know, but we'll give it a shot. Feels good. So there's a cupped washer holding the spring on. A spring seat with an isolator. Our isolator still looks like it's good enough. And then it appears that there was a bolt that was double nutted. Luckily that didn't spin. You can see our stanchion supporting all this right now. Our threads are wire wheeled, it's all lubed up. We're putting that original one-piece type bushing back in to try to achieve proper ball joint angle. I'm no alignment expert, but I put it in how it looks like it has more negative camber. We'll see if this nut snugs it up at all here. We'll take this radius arm nut off next, and then the radius arm bracket. We had previously put polyurethane radius arm bushings on this truck. The old ones were shot, and it's pretty tough to get them on. You can see what happened with this plastic deal. Luckily, this new kit eliminates these plastic jobs. We got our new radius arm drop bracket in place, and I gotta say, I'm impressed with this bracket. I mean, this is like 1/4 inch plate, all welded up proper, the holes lined up properly. We are going to have to drill 2 holes in the back here. Before we do that, we'll crank it down tight, and then we'll get all the bolts landed. Then we'll get that bushing back on the back here. This drop bracket is completely bolted in, and looks to me like the whole differential has to come down at once. So we're going to go ahead and repeat all the stuff to the other side, get the other side to this point. And then we'll look at taking those 2 center pivot bolts out. We chain up the outside of both these axles so it wouldn't completely just drop. And we're going to put on the center drop brackets now. Our differential is supported. And we're going to try to get the pivot bolt out now. Lower this stanchion a little bit, see if it comes up on out of there.
Oh yeah.
How's that?
Too bad that bushing, huh?
No, it doesn't look too bad. It's not dropping down very far. It's quite possible that the other swing arm is holding it up. So we'll undo that in just a minute here. First we'll take off this bracket because it's going to get replaced. So did that. A couple of those bolts were captured bolts. We got the driver's side axle drop bracket on, and you can see it's got two positions, 4 and 6. And we're going to have to put a supporting bracket on it yet. But we can't do that until we get this axle to drop down. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo the passenger side swing arm here and see if we can get that to lower down, get that bracket on, and get this whole axle lowered down. We got that pivot bolt out, got the bracket in, and we've got our brackets pretty well vertically lined here. And once we did that, this front one dropped down real easy and we got it into the number 4 position. So now we got to somehow through bolt those 2 bolts to lock that back bracket in place. We'll do that and then we'll get all our pivot bolts snugged up. We're just running self drillers through here and then we'll drill them holes from the back side. Our pivot bolts are snugged up, everything's tight. We want to put this bracket on, and to drill it, this arm's in the way. We're going to be putting a drop Pitman Arm on anyway. So we're going to use the separator and see if we can get that to separate without wrecking the boot. We got our support bracket on. We're going to resecure this power steering line. And then we're going to try to fish these springs up in here, see what happens. It's getting towards the end of the night, so we'll probably stop it here and pick it up tomorrow. We're lining up the spring here, and there's a ton of clearance, so this is going to be really easy to install. I just set her down. We're 5.5 hours in, and we got to the point where we can roll outside. It's a fresh new day here, and I'm looking at this brake line. There's a little bit of slack in it. If I decide to go to the 6-inch at any point, I'll definitely have to put longer brake lines in it. Here's what the rear pivot bracket looks like, all bolted up. I'll put this drop Pitman arm in now. It'll replace that straight one right there. Sounds like it's the same Pitman arm for the 4-inch and the 6-inch lift. Pitman arm puller. It's amazing what a little bit of heat will do. I got the torque wrench out now. They're saying the torque spec is 170 to 230 foot-pounds on this nut. Putting these shocks together now. I had to buy the dust boots separately. They're like $3 a piece. They didn't really tell me that up front, so it's something good to know. Looks like they're universal boots. Just throw a clamp on there. I was putting these shocks on and I realized they give me 2 different length shocks. And if you look at this, the mounting points are at different heights. I got the axle on stanchion here. The reason for that is this front shock here wasn't quite long enough to reach the top, so it is going to limit the downward travel of this suspension. And in the instructions it said they want you to keep the coil as far to the back as possible. You can see the tight clearance there on that shock. We just put on the sway bar drop brackets. A lot of head scratching going on with this. The instructions really weren't that good. This is what we got. Hopefully the bumper covers up some of that gap. We're finishing up with the steering stabilizer here. There's another head scratcher, and it looks like this bracket gets bolted around the frame. I ended up adding a little bit of weld there just to stabilize the thing. And we're going to check the travel here in a second to make sure this doesn't bind with anything. It's attached to the drag link. The front's finally done here. We got the rear end supported. We're going to take these shocks off so we can get the travel we need. And then we're going to insert their blocks underneath this like suspension travel block they got here. Put their longer shocks on, and then that should be a wrap. We didn't get any instructions for the rear portion of the kit, but we're going to put the block in like this. There's the back of the truck. So the rear end gets pointed more towards the transfer case for drive shaft and U-joint purposes. Here's what our blocks are looking like. We had to undo our sway bar to get those blocks in there. In the course of that, one of the U-bolts was a casualty. Away she goes. We're going to center up these bolts now and tighten them. Here she is all bolted together. We got the shocks in there. Clearly something has to happen with the sway bar. It has to be dropped down or longer links. There weren't any instructions for the back of this kit, so we just kind of winged it. Well, it's driving along fine. Definitely needs an alignment. But here's the final profile. Doesn't really look quite level to me. It looks like the back might be a bit higher. We'll take some measurements now. 41. Looks like we're at 41.
So.
Yeah. And looks like we're at about 38 there. Do you remember what we're at?
36.
2 inches? Definite improvement. We can always go up to the 6-inch too.
There's 3 back here.
So we got 3 in the back and 2 in the front. Sure, it seems like more though, doesn't it? That's all for now. Thanks for watching.